Past players, past legends, past legends.
So tonight we are absolutely privileged to have on legendary, and I don't use that word lightly, goal-kicking phenomenon in Chris Tractor Prime. Of course, he cut a splendid figure in that Lycra Guernsey in his time at the parade. We will get to that, obviously. But if we actually read out all his goal-kicking achievements, Pete, we'd be here to about next Thursday.
You were here at 9 a.m. this morning and started reading it.
Yeah.
We're still reading it now.
Just a casual, before the start of, after 2021, Tractor a casual 2,060 goals in the country in footy. It is a monumental achievement, and Tractor, we will go through some of that during it, but welcome aboard, mate.
No worries. Thanks, Malcolm. And Pete, thanks for having me.
Thanks for jumping on, mate. Like we do with most of our guests, we like to sort of delve into your juniors and then work our way up and how you got to Norwood and some of your exploits there. But where did you start your juniors, mate?
Oh, look, I started my junior footy in, I would have been 7 or 8 at Port Neal. I think I played under 12s for a couple of years before I touched the ball, as I think most kids do at that age. And played all my junior footy at Port Neal before heading to school at Westminster for 3 years.
Okay, I didn't realise. So, Westminster, what years were they school-wise there, Tractor?
I would have finished in 87, so 85, 86, 87.
But yeah, what years school-wise?
Oh, that was 10, 11, 12.
10, 11, right. Yep.
Yeah, so... Yeah, one of our teachers there was David Tiller, who was,
yes,
I think, captain of North Adelaide.
His Tills is still at Westminster, mate.
Yes, yep. My son's just finished Westminster last year, so Tills was still there, and it was good to catch up with him. So, so he was there, and Kim Harris, who was our first 18 coach while I was there, so he taught me a few little tricks as I travelled through.
State cricketer.
So, obviously, with your juniors out in the country there and then moving to Westminster, did you always have a bit of an appetite for goal kicking?
Oh, look, I did. Pretty much from a young age. Look, I played forward. I wasn't overly big as a kid. I sort of played forward pocket, rove sort of thing, as most younger ones do. Like, you get on the sides, and the bigger kids in the age groups plays down the spine. I guess my first memory of goal kicking was, I think it was 81. We hadn't kicked a goal against the opposition mini side for the whole year. But we won the grand final. But the ball was in the air when the siren went, and then went through the goals. And that's my distinct memory of, like, the first really important goal you kick is when you snap and it's in the air, and
it's a fair memory, that, Tractor.
And you win a grand final by 2 points.
Oh, everyone loves the sausage roll.
How old were you then, Tractor?
Oh, I reckon I was 10 or 11.
So you still got on the West Ends, mate? Yeah.
No, I got in the car with Mum and Dad, who don't drink and never have, and headed to Western Australia straight after that.
Okay. So from there, let's go through some of. So, in terms of footy wise, you build up to ending up at Norwood. Obviously, let's go through though. 89, you've kicked 118 goals for Ports. And then in 91, 125 goals for Tasmans.
Yep. So I played my first senior game at Port Neal in 86. So Port Neal was by itself. We won 3 premierships. Well, they won 84, was only 13. 86, 87, and 88, which I played in with my 2 brothers.
Yep.
And then Port Neal amalgamated with Arno Bay to form Ports.
Oh, right, okay. Yep.
So Ports was the amalgamated club, and that was our first year, and we lost the grand final to Kimber.
Okay.
So I kicked 118 as a 18-year-old, I think I was. was the first time I'd actually got to play full forward because my oldest brother Peter had actually been playing full forward for Port Neal at that stage.
And a great thank you to Peter Lyons for his book on country goal kickers, which I have in front of me. And by pure fluke, the first page I turned to today, looking for you, I came across Richard Horgan's name and gave Horgs a ring. So, and then he said, yeah, he was involved with you at Tumbies as well. So the old small Adelaide and small footy world was in vogue there, mate.
What was your biggest haul in that 118 in any one game?
Off the top of my head, that was a long time ago. I'm lucky to remember what I did. I reckon it was about an 11 or 12.
Correct, 11 against Ports. So well done there, Tractor. You've passed that one. And then, in terms of then arriving from country footy, you decided to have a crack at Norwood. Not as a youngster, you'd already played a fair bit of senior footy and that. What got you to the parade?
Look, we played an EP game at Crystal Brook.
Yep.
I think I kicked 5 or 6, and Port Adelaide approached me straight after the game to see if I wanted to come down next week to train or play. North Adelaide approached me, and Norwood asked me out we'd like to come out and do 2 weeks pre-season.
Yep.
And my saving grace was I was 21, and I guess smart enough in the world to know I wasn't fit enough to play the next week.
Yep.
At Reggie's level, there's no guarantees, and I thought 2 weeks, come out and train for 2 weeks and see how it goes, was like, on-the-job training really for me.
Yep. I think there's a pretty mature answer in that regard, Tractor. And, of course, you arrived at Norwood 93, and let's also be honest, you've been coached by a fitness fanatic in Neil Craig, so that would have been probably a bit of an eye-opener and a shock to the system. Yeah. So
look, it was, and like I came over thinking I was pretty fit, but no, that just wasn't it wasn't generally in my makeup to be that way. So, look, we pushed through, and I was lucky enough to get a run in that first game.
So we're going to talk about your nickname, mate, the Tractor. I mean, obviously, I've got an idea, but let the listeners in to know how you became the Tractor, or the nickname Tractor came about.
When I went down to Lincoln, I think Twiggy Cordwell coached us the second year.
Yep.
We were training. I don't know why we started training in December, but we were down there doing beach runs or run along the foreshore, and he said, you're pretty slow to get going, you're hard to stop, and we'll just call you, and you're from a farm, we'll call you Tractor. And it was just one of those names that's pretty well stuck. I know when I got to Norwood, because I was towards the end of the run, everyone asked what your name was. Well, when you're right at the end of the run, people actually remember who you are.
Yeah,
true. So, it was a real ploy that I'd employed at that stage, just to be unfit to try and get guys to remember who I was.
And then, so was it also your mum may have a bit of wise words at your beginning at your time at the parade too, mate?
Yeah, she did. I guess it was, we had the bye the first week, and Sturt played Centrals at Elizabeth. And Craigie, in his wisdom, picked his top 30 to go and watch the game at Elizabeth.
That's
and I wasn't
right,
in that.
Too. Yeah.
And I wasn't in that top 30, and that sort of, I don't know. I've never been good at being second. I'm a fairly competitive beast, and look, I was probably third in line then, and I rang Mum and said, look, I've had enough of this. I wasn't working. Look, I was just sick of Adelaide. He said, I'll just play a couple of games of footy, get the footy started and see how things go. And I think that week, Anthony Pieri and Mark Ducker both broke down.
Yes. Yep. And
leading on the Thursday night, I reckon Craigie spoke to me as I was going out to training and said, you'll be starting this week. Which was which was nice. Mum and Dad, I think, were still over here because they were probably still involved with football over here. Played my first game 10th of April 93, which happened to be my middle brother's.
Well played, Tractor.
Birthday.
Very impressive. Yep.
I
do have that in front of me as well. Well played.
So, yeah.
And kicked the casual 7 on debut.
Kicked 7, yeah. First one, and I told the under-15 boys this when they were over there this year playing at the parade.
When I caught up with you, yep.
Sitting in the goal square, leading out Craig Balme, kicking it out in the middle and taking a mark in front of Cooper's Hill. Now, as a Norwood supporter or a Norwood footballer taking a mark in front of a packed Cooper's Hill, I don't reckon there could have been anything better.
Yeah, that's a good call, actually.
So, and that's when we were getting good numbers, good football numbers there to the crowd, and you'd have 4,000 or 5,000 people or 3,000 people, and it felt like a big crowd when you're playing in front of those, because you're right there. Their voices are right there. So, it was very memorable. I think I played the next week and then got dropped for a week. So, you live and learn.
7 on debut, played the following week and then dropped the week after. That's unreal.
Craigie was a hard taskmaster. Gosh,
I only got dropped for 1 week, I reckon. I think I played all but one game for the year.
You would have been pretty keen for Anthony Pieri to be in the same side as you with that light Guernsey, because that did make you look like a smooth machine, mate.
Yeah, it was something like that anyway. Plugger and I did play a few together.
Yep.
Not so much in 93. I reckon 94 we did.
Yep.
But and even maybe into 95. But there's Mark Ducker and I formed a pretty good partnership in 93, and then, and then obviously we split that up because I reckon Ducks had left in 94. So it was finding that rhythm or the person you can work with, and you're not always in the same spot, which is quite hard at times in the forward lines because you all want the ball and you're generally going to the same spot. So it was good to have that cohesion with Mark Ducker, we weren't in each other's space all the time.
Now, I'm going to ask you one question with that. Now, we asked this same question to Brett James. Now, Brett James was a fitness fanatic, and whatever would be for you in that regard. But on the Thursday night before the grand final in 93 at Norwood is the only time I've ever, as a spectator watching, started going, for goodness sake, get him off the track. Can you remember that, just how ridiculously hard we trained in grand final week?
I can't, only because by that stage of the year, I was only training for about half an hour on a Thursday night to make sure I could still move. I'd done my conjoint tendon through my groin, and so from about the last third of the year, I would play on Saturday, not walk very well Sunday, and just work in the gym Monday, Wednesday, whatever nights, so Monday and Tuesday, and then just do half an hour on a Thursday to make sure I was right. So, look, I know the boys might have been out there, but I couldn't comment because I wasn't.
And the highlight of that year, did you find as well, the prelim final against Port was a great game. It was a great game as well. Okay, we finished on the right side and won it running away, really, but that was a fantastic game. And did you think that was virtually the highlight of the year as well?
Yeah, look, I think we played. There was about 25 or 25,500 people in Footy Park, and it felt full. We normally played out there, and it felt like there was no one in it.
Yeah.
And that was a noisier game and more atmosphere than the grand final the week after.
Yeah, because unfortunately the grand final we weren't exactly overly competitive. I will say, I was happy for Simon Neve because I thought Neve still should have been. I thought he should have got more opportunities at Norwood, and also happy for Bruce as coach. But it certainly wasn't a great day, and I will say, I'll be honest that. Pete, I reckon we were in the bar by about the 15-minute mark that
I was
day.
sitting at the northern end, so I can certainly attest to feeling disappointed early on, that's for sure. Mate, you obviously 93. You start against Sturt at Norwood, and you finish the year in a grand final. I mean, that's stuff that you dream of as a kid. Is that something that you know?
Oh, yeah, it is. Like, it would have been nice to play in a winning grand final, but yeah, just that whole feeling, even the lead up for the week, and someone gave me some photos the other day, and it was of us getting presented in Rundle Mall the day before.
Yeah,
They presented all the players as they walked across the bridge across the middle that's no longer there.
Yep.
And you think, you know, how much footy's changed, like, you know, all this stuff going on now just doesn't happen. But, yeah, less happens, but they demand more.
Yes.
I think we demand more of our footballers now than what we did back then.
And 87 majors for the year in 93. Is there a couple that stand out, or a couple of performances, a couple of weeks that stand out where you got a nice bag?
I think 7 was my highest tally. I think I kicked a 7 against South Adelaide as well, when I think Plugger had kicked 13 in the twos, which put a bit of pressure on, and I kicked 7 in the ones. But yeah, look, I guess I played my role. Like, I'd sort of kick my 4 or 5 or 3, but I quite often I'd kick 3 or 4 in a quarter, and then like I'd be shut down, but I'd be bringing the ball to the front. You'd have like Paddo and Rowie.
Paddo had a good year from you bringing the ball to the front.
So
no doubt about
that was like Sam Smart played centre half forward and didn't have a heap of the ball, but his job was to compete, bring it to ground. My job at full forward was present, bring it to ground, and have, you know, Stephen Pitt, Stephen Rowe, and all the Stephens, Patterson come onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, a huge feather in your cap where you got, and it was something, the leadership positions was something Craigie took very, very seriously, and vice captain the following year, mate.
Yeah, look, and that probably was a bit of a shock. I don't know if I was mature enough. I was old enough, and I was probably might have been a wiser head a bit later on, but we weren't really an old side.
No, that's true. Yeah,
and I learned a lot from that year, like just sitting in on selection and things like that. So it was an experience being at that level, and then turning around, and it's probably aided me later on in my footy when I've gone into leadership positions or coaching positions. So you, quite a reasonable year again, 53 goals. But I basically carried from the year before, the injury I had was I had the right side operated on. I needed the left side operated on, but they wouldn't do both at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So I played 94 basically on one leg.
So,
wow.
It's pretty frustrating in terms of your time at Norwood with it, therefore, in that regard. So,
but like, to me, once you walked on the footy field,
it
didn't matter.
Yeah, you crossed the white line, exactly.
And I see guys come off the footy field now and they say, "Oh no, I'm done." I said, "How do you know you're done?" And they said, "Oh, it's sore." I said, "You don't know it's sore until you actually get back on the oval, and then you know, because your adrenaline kicks in and you just keep going." Like, and not everyone's built the same, but that's how we are generally built. Like, we go, you know, it doesn't matter. You just keep playing until the siren goes.
So next year, 95, your final game was the prelim final loss to Centrals. Why did you decide to give it away after the 3 years, Tractor, at league level?
Well, if you had a video hook up here, I'd be able to show you. I'm actually sitting in the house on the farm that came up next door to our main farm. So I reckon with about 6 weeks to go in the season, brother had a chat to me and said, "Look, the farm next door is coming up."
Right.
And I said, "Well, he said, you've had 3 years of fun. Got to come over and do some work." And once again, I wise enough to understand that, you know, I was going to work for the rest of my life.
Yep.
I wasn't going to play footy for the rest. So, yeah, I made that call. We talked, when Peter Rhodes was on, talked for a while about whether I'd travel back, but that wasn't going to work for me.
Yep.
I needed the training. I needed to do that
Yeah.
3 nights a week just to keep up pretty much a basic level of fitness. Because I'm not those, not the Paddos or the Brett James that can just run.
Yeah.
So look, it was never really an option to travel back, and I just settled back here.
Mate, you've packed in a lot of things that have happened within the couple of years you're at Norwood. You arrive, you debut, you play in a grand final, you kick 87 goals, you then back it up the following year with 53 goals and a prelim loss to Centrals on one leg, now that you're telling us this. Mate, that's one of the best stories that I've heard in SNFL football for a very short period of time of somebody being in the game.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it's I think we've all got stories.
Yes.
I think you run into people and you talk to people that play footy. Everyone's got a story, and they've all got different little bits, and because not everyone doesn't know what someone else is challenged by. So it's one of those things, and it's not till you sit down with them and have a bit of a chat you go, actually, you face challenges I didn't even know about.
Exactly.
So I think we've all got them through life, and football's no different.
That's one thing I've found with interviewing people, and that it's a great reminder that just because a person's better at sport, that it doesn't mean that people don't go through tragedies, etc. And obviously at Norwood, that's really close to our hearts at the moment. And Ross Dillon's father dying when he was 16 on Christmas Day, going to fix a drill, electrocuting himself. Bruce Winter's mum died when he was 2. She cut herself in Port Moresby and died of septicemia. So exactly, anything and everything. Now once you've decided to go back home and you've gone back to your club to Ports, and you're there for the next 11 years, and saw some success and all that, but. And knowing you, Tractor, it would have been a massive decision to decide to change to Tumby Bay. But going to Tumby Bay, and, again, not as a kid, it was in 2007, but your career almost exploded from when you went to Tumby Bay, mate.
Look, I did. My 11 years at Ports, I loved it. I just was frustrated. I think we were probably had 3 or 4 top line players, and then sort of dropped away, and we just couldn't keep up with sides, and without the 6-6-6 rule, we got a little bit beaten up at times. And my coach at the time was Trevor Grenfell.
Yep.
Buff.
Yeah, North Adelaide.
He said, if you want to enjoy your football, go somewhere else.
That's a pretty mature comment, actually.
And I was 36. I think I was captain of the side at the time. And, so I made the decision. I went and talked to a couple of clubs, talked to Tasmans where I played in 90 and 91, talked to Tumby, and ended up going to Tumby. And one of the local papers, about a month out from the footy, they put a bit of a report in there about what the clubs are doing, and I knew this bloke, and he said, at 36, this fella probably find it hard to get these young guys running around, and that sort of, that was like, a red rag to a bull for me. So it was probably the fittest I'd been since I left Norwood when I played that first year at Tumby.
And just a casual 150 goals.
Ouch.
10 plus on 8 occasions. And righto, come on, Tractor, what was the highest total you kicked in that year?
Oh, God. I reckon I kicked in 18 that year.
Well played, 18 against Cummins Kapini, and also winning the male medal, mate.
Yeah, look, I knew I was a chance when I kicked 6 in the first game and got 6 votes. So it was one of those years, things just, we had a good side and the ball came in a lot.
Yep.
But I had a purple patch in the middle. Richard Horgan was our coach.
Yes.
And I must have read a Malcolm Blight book early on, and he always said about tying your shoelace on the inside of your...
Yeah. Oh, red hot on that, Blighty. Yes. Yep.
on the inside of your boot.
Yep.
So the ball's not hitting a knot and you can kick better. Well, I reckon I kicked 9 goals, 7 this day on something. And Horgs has said to me, why do you tie your shoelace on the inside of your boot? And I said, to help me kick straight. He said, it's not working, tie it on the outside. I think I kicked 100 in the next 9 games.
So
and
much
I think
for...
it was about 100 goal, 12.
Yes,
And
I'm
I tied,
surprised
the rest
Horgs
of the year,
didn't
I tied my
claim
boot
that to me
lace
today.
on the outside.
Wow.
So much for Blighty's theory.
Yeah, so football's fair bit between the ears.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so a couple of male medals involved there, mate, too.
Still no club best and fairest there, though.
What's that?
Couldn't quite get the best and fairest with
Wow.
Cumbie, so
you won two male medals, but no B&F.
And 150 odd
Yeah,
goals.
150 goals I thought might have been enough to get you up, Tractor.
no, a runner-up that year.
Okay. What, Horgs gave himself the vote? So, yeah.
Jay Shannon won it that year.
Okay.
Jay Shannon, who
Fair
spent a
play.
bit of time at
Yep.
North and Port, he won the 2006, I think, on level as a 15, 16-year-old, and was runner-up in 07. So, yeah.
So so 131 goals again the next year, Tractor. So and then 102. So a couple of flags there as well, mate.
Yep. Lost the 08 one.
Yep.
That was a game we shouldn't have lost. That was our first loss for the 2 years.
Ouch.
Yes, that was out at Tumbie Bay as well.
Oh, ouch, even more.
Yeah, good reminder that
Footy is between the ears, isn't it?
And anything on the given day, especially GFs. So, yeah, another 100 goals the following year. So it's pretty consistent there for a fair while, Tractor.
Yeah, look, I think I'd kicked 500 in the first 77 games there. So,
Were you tested for leather poisoning?
I don't know. I probably should have retired then.
Nah, keep going, mate. I reckon you're only warming up now, Tractor.
I think I'm getting towards the end. I keep saying that though.
You've said that for a few years, mate. I reckon you're still going okay. So you're still looking in pretty reasonable, Nick. So yeah, 2018's another 100 goal year. So fair effort that your first 100 goal year is 1989, and you followed it up just a mere casual, 29 years later. That's quite ridiculous, really, Tractor.
Yeah, I think the last one was in the 2s.
Yeah, still
and
100 goals.
That was, I think I needed 7 in the last quarter to get it in the minor round. So every ball came to me.
Fair enough too.
Love it. What's some of your best memories of obviously going back and playing local football after being in the city for a couple of years?
Oh, look, it's the people you meet, and it's both sides. Like, some of the guys you stand, you stand them 4 times a year, or there's a bloke just down the road that we stood toe to toe and maybe discuss the finer points of the rivalry between the 2 clubs, but we'll have a beer every time we see each other.
Exactly.
So like you meet people along the way. I'm trying to think. Last year, my son came home from Adelaide for the weekend. He doesn't play footy very much. I said we were short. I said, well, you got socks and shoes and boots. Well, we'll register this week, and we lost that week, but I played a game with Sam, so that was good. Like,
yeah,
he took a mark in the middle, passed to me, kicked the goal. I thought, well, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, can't argue with that. I reckon that's the perfect wording too, Tractor. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah, like there's things like that happen along the way, or just little things like it might be giving a handball to and I know that doesn't happen from full forwards inside 50 very often, to a bloke that's struggling or, just learning, you handball it to them and they kick a goal, and it just lifts them and it lifts the whole side. I don't need to kick goals.
Yeah.
That part of my job's done. But if you can help someone out now, or encourage people, that's sort of what you can do.
What about some Mortlock Shield, highlights there and who you've played with and against, Tractor?
I can't remember who I played with and against. There'd be a fair chunk of them. Look, they were always great weekends. I don't think we'd be allowed, realistically, under SANFL rules, we're probably not allowed to do it now, because we played 2 games in, 3 days. We'd get shot down, but we'd play a full game on the Saturday and, party pretty hard Saturday night, and sometimes again Sunday, and then front up and play again Monday. So, and you played against the best of every league. So I remember one day there I was standing Jeff Phelps, and
Yep.
I was maybe a little bit under the weather from my Sunday, and it's just hard work. You really test yourself out. So it's one of those things. It's every level you go up, you just find those people that we find more people that are at the same level as you or better than you. So you challenge yourself.
Jeff Phelps, good left arm opening bowler too. He got me out a couple of times, unfortunately. So again, the old small sporting world as we keep going in that regard. But it's any real memorable wins in Mortlock Shield that you really treasure?
Actually, the one I treasure the most is probably not so much on the football side. It's the best story that gets told though.
Yeah.
I think we play. I'll tell you the year if I can remember it. We played on the Saturday. I kicked 9-goal-1 on the Saturday. And as I said, we all went pretty hard at it on Saturday night. And my old footy club, Tasman's down there, used to have a drink sprint on Sunday. And they would give you a schooner glass as you walked in. And it was free beer for an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
So this is 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. This is recovery. And I had 22 schooners in an hour and a half.
Fair effort, Tractor.
I was in bed by about 4 o'clock, and we had the 3 o'clock game on the Monday. And that's the day I stood Phelpsy.
Yeah.
I kicked 1 goal 9.
Might have seen a few different goalposts. Might have the problem Tractor.
We lost that day by, it's probably 7 points or something like that, and hence lost the Mortlock Shield. So that would have been, I would have thought that might have been 90, 91. That might have been 92, I reckon, my first year back at Eastern Air. So, yeah, that's the story gets told the most. I missed out on the goal-kicking award by 1 goal, and I reckon we lost the Mortlock Shield by 1 goal 3. So,
but you won the drink. But you won the drinking award. So yeah,
I did win the drinking award. Yeah.
Bit of yin and yang about that, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that you got up in that one, Tractor. I admit that. I reckon I'd struggle to even go waters with you. So yeah.
Yeah, I've slowed down. I reckon I had a bit of a corky that day too, kicking at goals. And once you get the yips, you're stuffed. So I had the yips bad. So.
Mate, we go back to we'll go back to the SANFL like we do with most of our guests. We like to sort of probe you a little bit in who were some of the best players you played against and went head-to-head with and enjoyed playing against in the SANFL, that is.
Look, Roger Delaney, probably one of the toughest fullbacks I've stood. Just his ability to read the ball, his strength. He was just hard work, like all the time.
And he'd run off and attack.
Oh,
yeah.
And could hit a target.
Yeah.
I reckon 95 I stood Paul North East a couple of times.
Okay.
And once again, you'd want to bag him all the time about the way he kicked the footy.
Yeah, but he did miss a target.
No, he was just really good. and I actually ran into him a few weeks ago, and he, you know, he had a bit of it. I said something about his kick, and he said, "Well, how many premiership medallions have you got, Primey?"
Yeah, hard to compete it with that line.
And like once again, like he good bloke. You know, obviously, you know, different ends of the planet being Port and Norwood, but like, you know, you talk to them now, and you know, you have that understanding of what they were doing, and we were just all trying to beat them, and we couldn't. So, look, there's those sort of guys you play against. But I'm trying to think. That's a long time ago. Jason Spear from the Eagles always was one of those ones that, you know, was pretty much all over you. And like, it's just a lot of. There's some guys you get the best of one week, and the next week you can't get a kick on them. So the other two I probably battled with the hardest. They were the most consistent ones. Them and Chris Threadgold from Sturt. That, you know, that you knew that's who you were going to stand when you played them. So the others swapped around a bit. And
of course, playing with you played with two of the all-time SNFL greats, mate.
For Norwood?
Yes.
Oh, yes, well, yeah, you couldn't go past Gary McIntosh. Yep. And that was, you know, you felt privileged running on the oval with him at times. Like, if he said do something, you just did it. And I guess I was fortunate enough that...
No, you didn't play with Aishi. Yep, sorry. Yep.
Although Aishi, it says in Aishi's bio that he retired in 92.
Yeah.
He actually played a couple of games in 93.
Yeah, just at the start. Yeah, that's right.
I remember we played at the parade against Glenelg, and he came out onto the ground, and like you could sort of feel the Glenelg supporters and players just drop. Like, it was just unbelievable. Like, he started in a forward pocket, kicked a couple, I reckon. And, yeah, he's just, even at whatever he was then at the end of his career, he was still just had that touch.
Yeah, aura as well.
Yeah, so, look, I was fortunate. And then you throw in, like, Brett James. Well, I think you got your three highest games players there, just about.
With Keith Thomas.
Keith Thomas just walked out the door as I arrived, pretty much. He did all the pre-season.
Yeah, it was that day to Elizabeth. He decided that day at Elizabeth that was it. Yeah, at the start where you didn't make that squad of 30. So, yeah, I actually thought of that as you said it. I was thinking of KT. So, yeah, touch of irony there, mate.
Yeah, look, so I was pretty lucky to meet those blokes and play footy with them or train with them. Like Tommy Warhurst, who was, once again, did all pre-season or did a fair chunk of pre-season. So you get to meet them and, you get your foot in the door when you see them now and you think, well, yeah, look, guys I was a Sturt supporter growing up, so the guys that you sort of look at and you idolise, and then you start meeting them because you're playing footy against them or with them, and you're sort of sometimes a little bit in awe of them because you go, oh wow, it was only 12 months ago or 2 years ago I was watching you on TV thinking, God, how cool is that? And next thing you know, you're there with them.
Mate, we'll get you out here on this one. What are you up to these days?
Well, at the moment, I'm running I'm running a farm with my oldest brother and two nephews. Run a sheep stud. So we've got our ram sale coming up next Tuesday, the 29th, if anyone's looking for a good Palmerino ram. I was just throwing a plug in. And
go for it, mate. Go for it.
and then, I have I did retire at the end of last year, football-wise, but did fall off the wagon. I played 5 games so far this year for Ports.
That doesn't surprise. And yeah, fascinating your current situation with Ports and Tumby, mate. been made a life member and playing back at Port. So, yeah, you've sort of completed the full journey, mate.
Look, I have, and that's where it started. Like, Port Neal had just done up their complex earlier this year, and my nephew Caleb
yes,
come over and said, "Oh, look, we left a couple out of the B grade." I said, "Oh, that's good." And I might have snuck in and had a couple of quiet beers and on the Friday, and I messaged the B grade coach and said, "Disappointed I didn't get a game." And that was at 7:30. By 7:45, I had a clearance and was registered and fronted up the next day.
I'm not surprised that Caleb did that either.
Love country footy. I love it.
So,
yes.
look, and it's a nice feeling to go back home. Like, that's where I started my footy. But yeah, still heavily involved in Tumby, like with the club rooms and managing the bar, and so like it's one of those things. It was an opportunity. Tumby had plenty of numbers. I wasn't going to play, and it just sort of happened by accident.
No, great to hear, and look forward to catching up with you and Caleb too at some stage as well. Tractor, greatly appreciated to come on board. Congratulations on an incredible career, and look forward to catching up again, mate.
No worries. Thanks, Malcolm.
Keep kicking those sausage rolls, mate.
I will try.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Tractor.
Cheers.